You're taking a live look at the Queen City, a little bit of a hazy look to the Queen City this Saturday afternoon. Good evening, I'm meteorologist Erin Ashley. The good news about the wildfire smoke is that we're going to get a beautiful sunset in the next 2-ish hours or so. So be sure to send us your photos. I'm going to be looking for them and hopefully featuring them tonight on Fox 19 now at 10. All right, so pretty quiet day over the tri-state, and thankfully a quiet day over the tri-state in which we've seen a whole lot of this, just deep blue skies, a little bit of a milky look out there, but nevertheless beautiful, especially compared to the days leading up to today. Now, our forecast hasn't changed a whole lot, at least in the long term, but I'll go ahead and brush up on that 7-day forecast here in just a few minutes. Let's talk about the air quality right now. No, it's nothing to compare to summer of 2023. This is what we're seeing right now, just moderate air quality. So, of course, that will mean a small number of unusually sensitive groups of people may encounter a few health concerns. Of course, if you are one of those said groups of people or included in one of those, you more than likely know this and have been notified already. And the good news is that we are still seeing a good amount of winds coming in from the north, and that's working to kick out whatever smoke is left and help reduce that impact it has to our air quality. So these are the sustained winds. Notice CVG reporting a 21 mile per hour sustained wind. You can only imagine the wind gusts are a little bit more than that. So 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts is what we're seeing for those Saturday evening plans. Again, the smoke not going to be too much of a hazard heading into your day tomorrow. You might notice a little bit of extra smoke, but nothing to compare to today. Tonight, clear skies. This means we're going to be waking up rather chilly, just by comparison to where we're supposed to be for this time of year. Not exactly frost territory, but the mid-40s. Yeah, jacket-worthy morning for sure. So this is actually going to be suggesting some areas dropping into the mid to upper 30s. This is really dependent on just how quickly we see those temperatures drop this evening. So just plan for the chill tomorrow. This does mean a very beautiful afternoon, and while we are tracking the return of the sun in the 70s, the UV index is, of course, of note. Yeah, 8 or 9 is what the UV index is more than likely going to be tomorrow afternoon. Very high. You know what to do. I'm not your mother. You know what to do. Just lather up the sunscreen, give yourself some breaks, and make sure we stay hydrated. But tomorrow really is going to be a rinse and repeat of today. Just get rid of the extra wildfire smoke and add a somewhat chilly morning. Now today, still getting through a couple of those soggy patches out on the roads. I know driving in on 50 into Queensgate just a few hours ago to come into work, there's a decent amount of rain still left on the roads. That's just because we had in some spots over 2 inches of rain from yesterday alone. So tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, you don't really need to rush in getting done those lawn chores. Tomorrow itself is going to be beautiful, deep blue skies, mid-70s. I'd argue that some of us are going to try our best to reach the upper 70s, which is a little bit more normal for this time of year. It really just depends on those winds. Now, your Monday is kind of that pivot day, or I should say like Monday into Tuesday is going to be your pivot day. You'll see it here on the Muggy meter. We go from comfortable sunshine to, say, that more typical summer feel here in the Ohio Valley. So Monday, notice a little bit of the humidity starting to trickle up, but we really don't feel it staying that way until Tuesday. Yeah, those dew points, to provide a little bit of context, dew points, what you're seeing right here and what this line is representing, it is the measure of moisture in the air. And so the more moisture we see in the air, the more humid it is and the stickier it feels, especially if you're exercising or outside for prolonged periods of time. And so Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday going to feel a little bit more like a July feel, just because we're pairing dew points in the 60s with high temperatures in the 80s. And so the heat, the humidity is definitely going to be fueling some storm chances. We're mainly looking at Wednesday and Thursday now. Thursday is when most of the action is going to be happening. But of course, with temperatures in the middle 80s, dew points in the 60s, near 70 degrees, there is a small chance this far out for severe weather. There's always a chance for severe weather this far out with temperatures like this. There's nothing that I'm seeing that is abnormal. Just something you'll want to keep checking back with us. as we get closer and hope to refine this forecast a little bit more in the future. All right, so yeah, we got a ton of people coming on in this afternoon. I'm glad. I was surprised that people are actually popping up on here because you guys should be outside. You should be enjoying it. It really is such a beautiful day, but the good news is if you, you can just enjoy it tomorrow too because it's going to feel very similar. Anyways. Seth saying, hi Erin, how are you doing on a Saturday? Coming up on a Wednesday, I'm going to play some country music at the baseball games. That's going to be so fun, Seth. Thanks for tuning in this Saturday evening. I'm doing really well. If you hear my voice is a little scratchy, yeah, I'm trying to get over a little bit of some sort of sickness, but I appreciate you checking in. Susan, tuning in today has been beautiful. Absolutely, Susan. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you've been able to enjoy these beautiful temperatures. And if not, that's okay because I mean, look at this. I don't think it really gets much better than this. And the good news about the return of the mid-80s is that it's not abnormally hot anymore to hit the mid-80s. It's fairly normal. All right, it's 6:07. Let's talk about that first alert extended forecast, which, like I mentioned at the top of the hour, a whopping 7 minutes ago, it's really, the extended forecast has not changed a whole lot, especially in these temperatures. We're still forecasting the 80s by Tuesday, some of us as soon as Monday afternoon, and then Wednesday and Thursday. Even Friday has an opportunity for some showers and storms. But Wednesday, Thursday, I'm actually seeing the recipe, if you will, the ingredients for the recipe for an isolated severe storm chance Wednesday, a more concerning storm chance on Thursday. So those 2 days, just going to be watching for potentially strong or severe weather. We're 5 days out. We'll let you know if it changes. Now Friday, scattered storms in that forecast as well. This is on the back side of that cold front. At least that's what many of our models are suggesting. And so while we are tracking mostly rain, there will be a few rumbles of thunder. I'm not seeing anything that's going to sound the alarms for severe weather. So if you have tickets to the Reds game on Friday, I can't remember if first pitch is going to be earlier that day or later, but if it's a first pitch that's earlier in the day, you might be dodging a few raindrops just because that's where we're seeing most of the action coming on through. But of course, that's several days out. We'll let you know if that changes. The good news is because we're seeing such active weather Wednesday, late Wednesday, afternoon storm chance Wednesday. It's not going to happen all day. We're seeing an active pattern late Wednesday and Thursday, even a little bit on Friday. That does mean next weekend is looking a little bit on the drier side, perhaps more comfortable once we have that cold front kick on through. So, but hey, I talk so much about what's the doom and the gloom on the horizon. Look at this immediate forecast, folks. Tomorrow, I mean, yes, 46 degrees. It's going to feel a little chilly, a little uncomfortable, but then we get through it, mid-70s. Monday, near 80 degrees. It's not until Tuesday that the dew points are on the rise. You feel the humidity. Perhaps it gets a little uncomfortable outside, but it's not excruciatingly warm yet. Wednesday, Thursday, depending on the timing of the storms, which Wednesday, like I stopped myself and clarified, it's not looking like an all-day event. In fact, the afternoon storm chance looks pretty isolated as of right now. But Thursday, that's looking like the heaviest rainfall day. We'll be keeping a pretty close eye on that because with the cold front kicking on through, late Thursday evening storms could become a little bit on the dicey side. Perhaps they could be severe. We don't have too much certainty in this forecast, but keep checking back with us. You guys know what to do. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we have any more questions. Susan saying, watching you on the lawnmower. Susan, I wish I were on a lawnmower right now. I don't know why they make me work on the days without it's so beautiful outside. I feel like I should be here when it's not beautiful, but nevertheless, I'm glad you're taking advantage of it. And yeah, enjoy it, Susan. Thank you again. Melvin saying, hi, Erin. It is nice outside. I'm a fan of you. Thank you, Melvin. I appreciate it. It's beautiful outside. I hope you're able to enjoy it. And if you can't do it today, well, you have tomorrow and Monday before the humidity starts to play a bigger factor. Iris tuning in. Hello. It is gorgeous out here. It is beautiful. It's a gift, perhaps. Mother Nature is saying, hey, I'm sorry about the last week. Here's a little bit of a... she's throwing us a bone, if you will. Thanks for tuning in, Iris. And Sam, excuse me. Hi, Erin. Hope you had a great weekend. Yeah, it's been a great weekend so far. Pretty short, but tomorrow's supposed to be better. Thanks, Sam. Nicholas, yeah, good to discuss what's going on with the weather. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking with that, but what's going on with the weather? Sun, a lot of it, and then we go right back to a little bit more of a spring stormy pattern. Benjamin tuning in saying, breezy, wanted to do the fire pit, but I can't. Yeah, it's a bit breezy out there. Good news if you want to do a fire pit later this evening, just coming a little bit farther away from those higher temperatures, the winds will just automatically die down a little bit. So maybe you'll have a better opportunity to later, but if not later today, definitely tomorrow. Tomorrow the winds are supposed to back off a little bit. Okay, now that we've addressed some of the questions, some of the comments, let's talk about how this spring has really been one for the books. We got some official numbers coming on in, which hasn't changed much if you were tuning in this time yesterday or around this time yesterday. We all experienced it. This spring was abnormally soggy, rain at every corner it seems like, and now we've got the data to prove it. It was the 9th rainiest spring on record, and records began for this specific category, seasonal rainfall. Well, that started in 1871, and Rob Williams and I last night were like, okay, so that's the Gilded Age, that's when the Great Chicago Fire was, and that's around the time that the telephone was invented. So yeah, it was the 9th rainiest spring since the Gilded Age, the Great Chicago Fire, and around the time that the telephone was invented. At a whopping 17.57 inches of rain, most of this actually fell in early April. The infamous flooding events or the week of flooding events, it seemed, that really destroyed much of northern Kentucky and Kentucky in general. Normal spring rain, we get about 13 inches. Again, we really surpassed the normal mark by the end of April alone. So what we've gotten throughout May, while it was relatively normal for the month of May, it just added to an abnormally wet spring. So here you go, the data, it proves it. You're not crazy. It was in fact one of the rainiest springs we've ever had here in the tri-state, or at least on record. All right, and then going beyond this, we're starting to enter a meteorological spring starting tomorrow, June 1st. June 1st is the start of many things in the world of meteorology. It ends spring, it starts summer, and it starts hurricane season in the Atlantic Ocean. And I know we touched on it a couple weeks ago when the National Hurricane Center put out their prediction saying, hey, this is going to be an above normal hurricane season in the Atlantic. They've been saying that for years now, and we've most certainly seen it, experienced it. Many of us know people who have directly been impacted by these really strong, potent hurricanes. To say the least, it's really hard to put words to how extreme some of those storms were, at least the impacts they brought were. Now, it also kicks off a little bit more warmer temperatures for us locally, of course. With June, we start to feel warmer, it's summertime, yada, yada, yada. Now, this, my friends, this goes beyond the 7-day forecast, so this is not necessarily next week, but the next week. We're starting to get into the second week of June at this point, and the CPC, the Climate Prediction Center, as well as us here at Fox 19 predicting relatively normal to average temperatures. So we're going to have some days that are warmer than average, some that are cooler than average. They're just going to average out to say, hey, it's going to be relatively normal, which means we can expect highs on the mid to low 80s for that second week of June. All right, any questions about that? Yeah, no one's got any extra questions. It's 6:15. I think I've overstayed my welcome this afternoon. There's definitely lots to talk about, and we'll be sure to update the storm chances heading into next week. Tomorrow at 19atSIX, and if anything changes within the next couple of hours, definitely tune in to Fox 19 now at 10. I'll have the latest model data coming in around then as well. But for now, signing off here in Queensgate. Thank you so much for tuning in this Saturday evening. Take advantage of the comfortable sunshine and, of course, stay weather aware.